pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Friday, January 8th, 2021. The Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger are also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, WOBM News on Wednesday, January 6th, 2021, and thereafter posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices, and filing same with the Township Clerk pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Urick.
Here.
Councilman Kopp.
Here.
Councilman Lotano.
Here.
Councilman Roderick.
Here.
Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Present.
Council President Gagan.
Here.
First item, the minutes of December 14th, 2021.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Urick. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Urick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Abstain. I did not attend.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Tonight with us for the honoring resolutions and presentations, we have Olympic silver medal winner Todd Frazier, the retirements of Joe Coco Jr. from the Code Enforcement Department, the retirement of Joanne Zudniak from the Building Department, the retirement of Mike Rutkowski from the Department of Public Works, and we have with us the 2021 Silver Award recipients Juliana Caparoso, Grace Rhine, Brianna McGrath, Emily Cushing, Ava Chiavallo, and Bella Chiavallo.
Council, your pleasure.
Move the honoring resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Urick, second by Councilman Turnbach. Councilwoman Urick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes. Okay, Council. Honoring proclamations as well as several different retirements. I'm first going to ask Councilwoman Maruka to hand out our first recipient, Mr. Todd Frazier. Come on.
Todd Frazier, come on down.
And that Councilwoman.
Council President asked me to do this presentation this evening because I've been involved with Toms River East Little League for quite a long time and followed Todd through all his accomplishments. I'm just going to read a few. Whereas Toms River resident and High School South alumni Todd Frazier, nicknamed the Todd Father, which we all knew that, I'm sure, is an American professional baseball player who has played with the Cincinnati Reds, Chicago White Sox, New York Yankees, Texas Rangers, New York Mets, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Whereas Todd Frazier was an all-star in the Toms River East American Little League All-Star team that won the New Jersey State Champion, and that the U.S. East Regional Champions, the Beasts of the East they were, advancing to the 1998 Little Leagues World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and whereas beginning the game at shortstop, not only did Todd go 4 for 4 with a leadoff home run, but he was also the winning pitcher and recorded the game-winning strikeout that sealed the 12-9 Toms River win and the World Championship, the first American League Little League Championship since 1993. Todd won a silver medal with Team USA at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games after starting all 6 games at third base for the Stars and Stripes. Todd, in recognition from Mayor Hill, the entire council, I get a little choked up with this because I followed your whole career, and you have made Toms River so proud with all your accomplishments and are such a role model for everybody, not even at Toms River East Little League, Toms River Little League, but the entire state of New Jersey. Congratulations, and God bless you for all your accomplishments and making Toms River proud.
Okay, next we have several retirements. I'll ask Mayor Hill to do the presentations.
Craig, do you want to come up first with Joe's? I'll let Craig do that. He's the division head, so Craig.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Joe Coco has been with us for quite many years. Started out as a part-timer, as a second career, and finished up as a full-time employee. He's really been an asset to the township in upholding our codes. Joe, come on up.
Bob Jankellen's the department head of the Division of Community Service and Relations and Development. So that's the building department falls under that. Now I will tell you, we have a little funny story with the building department. I do a walk around to the building every day, and I got in the habit of doing that when we were shut down with COVID. And I wanted to do an employee of the month. And I decided, well, we're shut down with COVID, so what I did is whenever we get, Kit, my assistant, gets an attaboy or a nice email, we print up a certificate and we give it to the employees. So the building department has an ongoing battle going, and I think Nicole leads with about 6. So Joanne was complaining. She finally got her 2 in the last 2 months. So I told her, I said, okay, we'll give you a nice certificate when you leave. So Joanne, front and center, it's your time. Anthony and Tim, come on up. We have a retirement. Big Mike's retiring. Mike, front and center.
So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be here. This is a man who doesn't need an introduction. He's been here only about 44 years. 27 years with the police department, started in 1978 as a mechanic, worked all the way up chief mechanic, and now he's the head honcho in the town for all our mechanicals, trucks, cars, everything that we do. But Michael, I can tell you this, it's been a pleasure working with you for the last 14 years of my tenure here, and we are going to miss your world of knowledge in the mechanic world, and you're going to be sorely missed. And the guy who's following your footsteps is a lot to look forward to and a lot to do. But I want to thank you very much. Enjoy your retirement. I think Timmy wanted to say a couple things.
Yeah, I've worked with Mike quite a while, probably the most, except for Captain Clifton. I had the most with him. But yeah, Mike, you've done a hell of a job because the department's really gone a long way since you've taken it over.
Thanks, guys, very much. A few words.
Thanks, Cap, for hiring me 44 years ago. I remember the interview well.
Portable mic. Okay, so now we have the Silver Award for the Girl Scouts. I'd like to call up Bella Chirivallo. Did I say that right? She's not here. I guess that means Ava, probably her sister, isn't here either. Brianna McGrath. And Juliana Caparazzo, sorry. And Grace Ryan. And Emily Cushing. Okay. So this says a silver award, is that correct? You guys got silver, so you still got to do gold. Okay, that's awesome. So how many hours is the silver award? 50, okay. So the gold award is 80 hours of volunteer service, and they have to do it independently by themselves, their own 80 hours, and the silver award is 50. They have to do their own 50 hours. So if you have friends or mom or dad, or these guys have a partnership going, I see, with the Little Free Libraries. So it still has to be your own 50 hours, so you can't count anybody else's hours. So it's a lot of work, and it has to be sustainable and self-sustaining. So it can't really cost a lot of money. It can't be something that's a one and done. It's got to be ongoing. So I'd like each of these girls to explain. Now you guys can explain together, because yours was the Little Free Libraries, and then yours was Healthy Living in Kids and Teens. Okay, tell us what you do.
So for my project, I really wanted to help promote healthy living in teens and also children, just to have them live healthier lives and to be able to grow up. And I had a totally different plan, but because of COVID, I ended up doing cooking videos on YouTube, and it didn't turn out to be everything I wanted it to, but it was the best for the situation.
So for our project, we had to do Little Free Libraries. So we built little libraries basically, and we made them sustainable enough where people can use them for a long time, and they can keep reusing the books and going back and forth.
We built 2 locations, one at our Elks Club and one at the Country Club, so people can visit and I think it makes our community a brighter place. So I think that makes our project special.
I was going to ask where you put the little free libraries, because you can put them in front of your house. I mean, there's like, we got to talk about the zoning and stuff about that, but a great place at the Elks Club and at the Country Club, because that is going to have traffic. And little free libraries, if you don't know what they are, they're just little stands that have, they can have like a few books. They could have 10, 12, some of them even like 20 books, different varieties, and it's just, you take a book, and you can leave a book if you want. And there's a network, a national network. The first place I saw them was in California. So it's really cool that you guys picked up on that. And I think making YouTube videos in the face of COVID is amazing. I mean, that's great. I'm sure it turned out really fantastic, and a lot of kids are going to benefit. So thank you. Congratulations. And we hope to see you back here in a couple of years.
Tonight's the last meeting for 3 of our council members, and we have a tradition. We usually present them with a little token from the council, and you're all getting the same gift. So, however, what I'd like to do is I think, reserve comments, because I'm pretty sure all of us have comments that we'd like to make during council comments. I know I want to recognize all 3 of these council members. They leave big shoes to fill, but what I'd like to do now is have them open their gifts, and then please, if you'll stay to the end of the meeting when we have council comments, I think you'll be very impressed with the accomplishments of these 3 council members. And as I said, the new council members have big shoes to fill. So please go ahead, open them up. Kit did a nice job wrapping them, I have to say. So save the bow, you can reuse it. Lori, where are your surgical scissors? Yeah, well. You got yours? You got yours. We started this tradition several years ago. It's a picture of Town Hall by Virginia Pearl, a local artist. And I saw them in her studio several years ago, and I said, what an appropriate gift for anyone who's leaving, the governing body. So we've got into the habit of getting a framed one. Virginia does a great job. I call her up, and she gets them framed for us, and it's a nice, I think it's a nice memento to hang on your wall at home or in your office, and think fondly of your service to this town, because we all appreciate what you've done for us over these last 4 years, and in Maria's case, 18 years. So thank you, and as I said, I'm sure there'll be more comments. Terrence, too. He's there. I told you, Terrence. Terrence got his open first. He's a competitive lawyer. What do you expect? He's type A. Thank you all for your service, and as I said, I think we're all going to have comments to make during council comments. So I don't want to belabor the meeting. We'll wait. Please stay around because I think as I said, you'll be very impressed with the accomplishments of these three individuals here. Thank you.
Okay, item 7, please.
Item 7 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, establishing a new Chapter 253 of the Township Code entitled Continued Use and Occupancy of Residential Dwellings to implement regulations requiring certificates of continued use and occupancy upon transfers of ownership of residential dwellings. This is a final reading.
It's the final reading. Does any member of the public wish to be heard? Seeing none.
Seeing none, I move to
Motion.
close the public comments portion for this ordinance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Council Vice President Maruka. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
No.
Councilman Turnbach.
I'm going to abstain.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Next, item 8 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing various sections of the Township Code to restructure the administrative departments of the Township government to replace divisions of parks, buildings, and grounds under the Department of Public Works. This also is a final reading.
Does any member of the public wish to be heard on this? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
Seeing none, I motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, second by Councilman Lotano. Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka?
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Item 9, an ordinance of the Township of Toms River, County of Ocean, New Jersey, authorizing entry of a real estate purchase and sale agreement with FDS Toms River Urban Renewal LLC as a designated redeveloper of Block 606.01, lots 374 through 379, and Block 606.02, lots 394, 395, 406, 409, 410, and 411 within the Hooper-Codina redevelopment plan area for redevelopment of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs community-based outpatient clinic, and this too is a final reading.
Does any member of the public wish to be heard? Mr. Anderson.
Art Anderson, 12 Park Street. I'm just curious on this one. I went over the plan, the ordinance, and it doesn't show which properties they are. By any chance, do we have a map of that?
Mr. Kelly, do you have a map handy, or is it on the
There
website?
was a couple that were just paper streets.
Yeah, there
By the fire.
have been quite a few different paper streets that were transferred.
I don't have a map, but the county owns a few parcels by the jug handle right in front of the property, and essentially we're, the county is giving those to the developer in exchange we're giving the road. So it's kind of the good news is for the township is some of the responsibility of the neighboring roads fall in the county, and they're using some of this excess property to develop. So this is part of the swamp? Correct.
Yes. Thank you very much. Does any other member of the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close comment.
Motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final?
Second.
Motion was made by Council Vice President Maruka, seconded by Councilman Lotano. Council Vice President Maruka?
Yes.
Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Next up, we have the consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately.
Okay. Does any member of the public have any item they would like discussed separately? Mr. Anderson? Okay. Any other member of the public wish anything to be discussed separately? Does any member of the council wish a roll call vote or on
I just
any
needed a roll call on M, but Mr. Anderson wants to talk
on
about
M? Roll call
Ms.
vote on
Mary, yeah.
Okay. I'll take a motion to remove the rest of the consent agenda with the exception of item D as in dog and M as in Mary.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick, to move the consent agenda with the exception of items D and M. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes. Mr. Anderson, if you would.
As per number D, the resolution for the asphalt company reimbursement, I asked last time about the reimbursement, right?
That they were late getting to us,
Yeah.
yes.
How much should we ask for reimbursement from the government?
Is that all? Okay, is any other questions on item D as in dog, reference to Doom project? Okay, I'll take a motion to move item D.
Motion to move item D.
Second?
Motion was made by Councilman Lotano, seconded by Council Vice President Maruka. Councilman Lotano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes. And then, I should be asking Mr. Anderson, item M, the electric vehicles, the grant.
Yeah, I would just like the explanation what we're planning on doing with the electric cars.
With the electric cars. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Actually, this project started with a grant that the township received to install, I believe, 4 chargers. However, with the, I believe, a most recent revision to the land use law where percentage of all new parking lots are going to require chargers, we're going to take this opportunity to do the parking deck. As you know, the lower level is mostly township vehicles. They're going to, at some point, they go electric, they're going to need to charge at night, and then we'll have a certain percentage of the upper 2 levels for employees and visitors will also be able to charge. But we want to put the infrastructure now and wire the building so we don't do it twice.
Correct. Yes.
Free. It's free, correct?
It's partially paid for by a grant.
No, for residents, the
Yeah.
charge.
The cost
Other
of the
than-
installation is partially funded by the grant. The electric, I believe, will be like a swipe type system, like you pay for gas.
Okay. Council, your pleasure. Item M as in Mary.
Move item M?
Second.
Motion made by Council Vice President Maruka, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstain, I have a conflict.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
We do not have any reports tonight, so we can go right to the bills.
Move the bill list.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbuck, second by Councilman Latano. Councilman Turnbuck.
Thank you. Abstain from PO 21-06708, payable to the magistrates. Abstain from PO 21-06876, payable to the Law Office of Dasty McGuckin. Abstain from PO 21-00653, 21-02622, and 21-05121, payable to law office Siddle, Holzapfel, and Zabarski. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with those. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstained from PO 20-00569 and 21-06554, payable to Remington and Vernick Engineers, and abstained from 21-06708. Only item 16 as it pertains to recreation salaries, yes to the balance.
Councilman Kopp.
I abstain from the following: 21-06776, payable to Silverton First Aid, yes to the balance.
Councilman Roderick.
Voting no to PO 21-06876, payable to the law offices of Dasty and McGuckin. Yes to the balance.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Abstain to PO 21-06876, payable to Dasty McGuckin Attorneys at Law, 21-06765, payable to NJMVC, and 21-06708, Toms River Payroll, item 94, payable to NJMVC Lease Program. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
And Council President Gagan.
Just have one abstention to Silverton First Aid Squad. That's 21-06776. Yes to the balance.
We now go to elected officials' comments.
Mayor Hill, please.
Thank you, Council President. As I said in the opening remarks, and we had the presentations, we have, it's our last meeting for three of our council members, Lori, Urick, Terrence, and Maria. After the 2017 election, I have to admit that I was a bit concerned. We were going to have three Democrats on what was predominantly a all-Republican council. My fears were quickly allayed when the new members on the council all were focused on what was best for the town, politics aside. Most of the votes were unanimous or 6-1. Lori, you were always an advocate for the underserved in our community. You've always been a patron of the arts and a supporter of the arts downtown. You started the Girl Scout Gold program, and we had the Silver awardees here tonight. You're a member of TR United and the festival they have every year, chairman of the TR Housing and Homeless Coalition. You were an advocate to use our Riverwood Recreation Building for Code Blue back the first year you were on council. And you volunteered to chair the marijuana subcommittee, which despite the controversy, you did a remarkable job. I mean, you had a cast of characters for and against. They must have been interesting meetings. I don't wish that on anybody. I'm glad I was the mayor, not a councilman. I would not want to have sat on that board, but you did a very good job. You volunteer for food distribution for the last 92 weeks. I know you'll continue to be involved in Toms River in the community, and I have all the best wishes for you and Keith as you go forward. Terrence, I do have a special gift for you. Excuse me just a minute. I saved that from demolition. Terrence, one of the first things he did on the council was he represented Ward 4, and this motel was an eyesore and was a source of numerous visits by the Toms River Police Department, and Terrence prevailed on all of us, I think, to go out and purchase that property. And it was the right thing to do, so enjoy that little memory of the red carpet inn. Terrence was also a big supporter of Code Blue, and he went a step further. We all, I think, were a little surprised to find that the state legislation for Code Blue, it was 32 if there was precipitation, but it was 28, I think, if it was no precipitation. And I think all of us who went to college go, 32 is 32. I don't care if it's sunshine or it's raining or snowing. And he got the legislation changed statewide. Toms River went even further. Ours is, I think, 35 and below. So we're ahead of where the state was, and that's all a credit to Terrence. In addition, Terrence lobbied for funding for Field of Dreams. We got a $400,000 grant to complete that. I know the Kane family is very, very thankful, and he also was instrumental in getting $7 million and $7 million plus in funding for our regional school system. And when state funding was cut, Terrence co-founded, along with Jen Howe, I believe, the Toms River Education Fund to support the students in the extracurricular activities when the budgets were being cut. I will tell you that nobody's worked harder at food distribution than Terrence. Most of us work a 2 to 3 hour shift. Terrence is there the day before to make sure the deliveries are made. He's there at 6 a.m. and he doesn't leave until 1:30, 2 o'clock or later. One day it was till 4:30 when the food distribution is over. I know that you also will continue to be an active member of the community. You coach your daughter's soccer teams, and I wish you and your family every good thing because you deserve it. You really do. Maria, this is going to be difficult for me. We served together on this council for 16 years, and the last 2 years when I was a mayor, you've been up there. I cannot begin to thank you for all you've done. I think everybody realizes you're the hardest working council member. You're always available to your constituents. You have served them well. I used to kid you when I was the Ward 3 representative. You always had bulkheads on your list.
And I said, you show me a bulkhead,
I know.
I'll find it, Mel.
You stole my line. I said, Maria, I never get any bulkheads in Ward 3. And she goes, Mo, there's no water. My whole district is surrounded by water. And she was right. It was what was best for the town. And even though we were ward representatives, we all did what was right for the town. I didn't need bulkheads in Ward 3. Maria did. And so we got them. When Superstorm Sandy hit, it devastated Toms River, but most of the damage was in the ward Maria represented. She was there for the residents, and it wasn't easy. They were hurting, and FEMA was a lot of times nowhere to be found, or they had a different FEMA representative depending on the day of the week. And so the residents consequently vented on Maria. And after those initial meetings, I know they were difficult for a lot of us on the council would go with Maria and be there with her because it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. People were hurting, and you know, as a leader, you don't like to hear bad things, but you have to. That's part of being a leader. You got to take good with the bad. And Maria, God knows, had enough of that. And but she was very responsive to the needs of the OBVTA and the Barrier Island and the people on the mainland who suffered damage. There would not be pickleball courts in Ortley Beach or North Beach if it wasn't for Maria. She was instrumental in the first boat launch on Garfield Avenue. She's also championed kayak launches on the Barrier Island and on the mainland at Huddy Park and other areas. She responded to residents' requests when there was property damage being done over the summer by mischief. She worked with the police department to institute curfews to curb property damage. She responded to the residents' requests. She approached me and said, you know, they're concerned about ambulance response times. And I said, fine. I said, there's an easy answer to that. Let's put an ambulance on the Barrier Island so we don't have to worry about going over the bridge when the bridge is closed. That reduced that response time to under 5 minutes last summer. And the national response time is 15 minutes. So Maria, again, you responded to the residents' wishes. We have additionally asked the Toms River Fire District 1 to pre-position
prepaid or paid firefighters on the barrier island during the summer months at Ocean Beach volunteer fire companies so that they can respond to fires. And we don't have to rely on mutual aid. We'll be able to have our own people to respond. Maria, you and Terrence have been the leaders in this food distribution from the get-go. We had 5 sites. We had Westover, we had the 3rd Avenue parking lot on Ortley Beach, we had Sitta School, we had Walnut, and we had South Toms River. And you and Terrence worked hand in hand with Chuck Watson at Fulfill to meet the needs of our residents who are suffering from food insecurity. Despite your full-time job at DMV, you always take your lunch hour and come to visit us at the Presbyterian Church. You always make sure that we have adequate supplies. If not, you're on the horn with Chuck, and we go and pick up more supplies in Toms River if we need it. You also make sure the volunteers are well taken care of. As you leave office, I'm very glad to announce that I think your crowning achievement will come to fruition this Thursday, December 30th, when the state and Toms River will close on the Surf Club property, preserving that beachfront from development. In the beginning, you were the sole voice. If you remember, it was going to be $6 million purchase, and that was a lot of money for us to bite off. When the state came in and used Green Acres and Blue Acres, it became a more realistic goal, and gradually the members of this council supported you and came on board. Your leadership will be missed by all of us, especially by me. We've served together for 18 years. I wish you only the best. And please don't disappear, because I think you have a lot to offer this town and the residents of this community. As all 3 of you leave very big shoes to fill. And it's my hope that the members who will fall into your positions can live up to even half of what you accomplished. I will be happy. So as you go forward, you have my best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Roderick?
I have nothing this evening.
Councilman Lieutenant.
Thank you, Council President. Tonight, I want to thank Councilwoman Hurick, Councilman Turnbach, and Councilwoman Maruka for their service to our community. First, with Councilman Hurick, in your 4 years of service here on council, your dedication and love for Toms River is very obvious. You show it constantly by standing up for the things that you believe in, and most importantly, taking action. You are one of those people that volunteers to do things, and you put your time in, and you put together community events, and you take action, which is the most important thing. Usually with so much passion that it's contagious to the rest of us, so that's fantastic. It's contagious to everyone around you. Councilman Turnbach, as well as Councilman Hurick, you have always approached township business in a fair and bipartisan manner. You have always conducted yourself like a professional, and you've always had a balanced demeanor about you. You've shown much leadership, compassion, and eagerness to help our residents here in Toms River. I personally will miss your friendship and advice on this governing body. Councilwoman Maruka, on behalf of all the Toms River residents, I want to thank you for 18 amazing years of service. Your knowledge of municipal government and the understanding of Toms River specific issues and concerns will be missed by all of us. Those are the 2 biggest things that you've taught me: municipal government and the understanding of our residents' needs. All 3 of you, please know that the influence you've had on me will continue to help Toms River into the future, and I'll do my part to help other members of council the way the 3 of you have helped me. Thank all 3 of you for your service. Thank you.
Councilman Turnbull.
Be patient with me on this. I want to thank the residents of Toms River for the opportunity to serve. I was supposed to be a placeholder. I wouldn't be up here crying if I was. I was in my law office on a Sunday in June, and my law partner, Kevin Starkey, came in and said, "You live in Ward 4? I said, "I do." He said, "We're looking for a Democratic candidate. We can't find one. Would you put your name on the ballot, and we'll get you off there as soon as we find a candidate?" Sure. I put my name on the ballot. I went to court on Monday, and I got people coming up to me saying, "Well, we're excited to see you running." And I start to feel guilt, quite honestly, because now I got people saying they're excited, and I'm not really running. I'm just there holding the spot. And I wouldn't know at the time, but when I went back to Kevin and said, "I want to stay on," probably one of the best decisions of my life. I laugh. I went to my father first, and I said, "I'm going to stay on." And he said, "Good, kid, stay on, stay on. Do me a favor." I said, "What's that, Pop?" I said, "Just don't win." He was the most proud when I won. Got a lot of people to thank, and it starts with my family. Good lawyer comes prepared.
There you go.
I got it. Don't worry, Kev. I've cried a lot more. Being up here takes a lot of time. A lot of sacrifice. A lot of time away from your family. And to my wife, who's saying stop crying right now. And to my kids, I love them. I can't thank them enough. This doesn't get done without Sarah, Emma, Jack, and Ella. They allow me the time to do this. I haven't been home on a Friday in 92 weeks. I sleep a lot at Code Blue with Paul and Cousin Philly over there. And it's never a problem at my house. And I love them. I look out into this crowd, and I got friends for life in this crowd. Paul's changed my life. Cousin Philly. There's no one I'd want to walk in the dark woods with besides Cousin Philly. Caparasso, Stacy. I look in that back row, and my heart's in that back row too. Shelley, Cotton, Keith, and Chuck. You've changed my life for the better. Anthony, Gene Mickle, Dana, Gia, the house, Tommy, Storm Mullins, Coach Brian. I love all of you. To Mayor Hill, I want you to know I'm proud you're our mayor. I don't just say that here. I knocked on 1,500 doors of selection. And if someone came sideways at me with regard to you, they heard right back what a good man you were. I never joined in that, and I never will, because you are that man. I've learned a lot from you on leadership, on family, and I was once approached by leaders in the Democratic Party that had asked me to stop saying nice things about you, and I looked them in the eyes and said I wouldn't do it. We're very lucky to have you here in Toms River, and I appreciate you, and we'll be friends for life. We've had a lot of great moments in our 4 years here. We changed law with regard to Code Blue. Paul, Cousin Philly, everyone that went down to Trenton, we testified. We got it done, and people that don't really have a voice are warm and protected because of that. We brought in $7.6 million to our schools, the work of the Board of Education, Senator Gopal, Governor Murphy's office. We sat, we had a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings this year. We brought that aid back to the schools. We brought in $400,000 for the Field of Dreams for the Kane family, $30,000 this year for the Toms River Education Foundation, 92 straight weeks of food distribution, feeding over 300 families. We also brought the best smelling and best smiling employee to town hall with our Nigerian friend Davy Zadapaju. I'm proud of all these accomplishments, but for me, they don't represent my defining moment on this council. For me, if there was a defining moment in my tenure on this council, it started on a Friday in December of 2020. I always say Chuck Schlafer, but I think it's Schlaffer, and I should know this after a couple of years, right? But Chuck Schlaffer and I were, we left food distribution. It was cold. It was probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We went and got a cup of hot coffee at Dunkin' Donuts on Route 37. And I asked if he would come with me into a little patch of woods next to Jerry's Barbershop to check on a homeless gentleman I've been speaking with at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. Chuck is like someone I met, and within 3 weeks I felt like I knew him my whole life. Someone that's I go to for advice. Very much a fatherly figure to me. And sure enough, there we were walking in those woods. And I knew the guy's name was Mike. And we're calling out for Mike. And we entered the wooded area off of Neal Street and found Mike about 15 feet off of Hooper Avenue. And when we found Mike, he was laying in a freezing cold sleeping bag under a tarp. And it was cold. We were out there that day. I'll never forget seeing a human being laying in those conditions. And when you find out he's 70 years of age, it rocked me to my core. Chuck and I brought Mike coffee and soup. Seemed like day after day to build a relationship of trust, and it was built. Every night I would drive to the wooded area and I'd pick Mike up to bring him to Code Blue to see Paul and Cousin Philly. It took time to get Mike to Code Blue. It took time to get trust out of Mike. I would drive there at nights and park right on the side of the roadway by Jerry's, and you walk in those dark woods, and it's a little patch of land, but it's dark, and he'd be laying there. He'd be laying in that sleeping bag. And on the rides to Code Blue, Mike would eventually begin to talk and tell me about his life. We both knew he suffered from schizophrenia. He would tell you that he lived in the Midwest, and he was working, he was an artist, and all he remembers is falling one day, and he hit his head, and his life changed. I would just let him talk in my truck on the rides to Riverwood. And you knew his mind was racing. When you let him talk, he'd have those moments of peace that come out because he had someone to talk to. I would pick Mike up in the morning and drop him back to the woods. It's hard to do. Hard to take someone from warm conditions and say, go sit out back in the ground, and I'll be back 5 o'clock tonight to pick you back up. As Mike began to trust me, I told him where I worked on the corner of Hooper and Water Street. Told him he was welcome to stay warm during the day at my office. Nothing made me happier Then coming out of those conference rooms at my office, and most of you, or a lot of you have been there, and seeing that man sitting in my lobby, drinking a warm cup of coffee. Sometimes he wasn't so social, and he would just sit in the passenger seat of my truck. I got a lot of laughs during that time because my partners didn't know who Mike was. So they'd come in and be like, there's somebody sitting in your truck right now. And the other partners would be like, that's Mike. And we became family. Mike became family to the point he was at my house. He met my family. My dog Louie loved Mike. Mike sat in my truck probably 3 months. And Mike had been homeless and didn't shower a lot, and my car would smell. And my little daughter would get in the car, Ella, and say, "Your car smells, Daddy." She was right. One day, she's going to appreciate why. Went right up to Code Blue. I asked Mike what he wanted. Said he wanted to get a shower. He could just get a shower. He wanted to go south. He would repeat over and over again to me, "Terrence, I can't handle the cold anymore. I can't handle the cold. I've been on the road for 40 years, this man. One weekend it was above 35 and we weren't open by law. I wasn't going to put him in those woods at that point. So I booked him 3 days at the Howard Johnson across the street from his woods. And I gave him a few dollars. That would be the last time I saw Mike. I drive by that patch of woods every day. And sometimes I wish Mike was there. Honestly, sometimes I miss the friendship I had with him. But I would like to thank him. Mike lit a spark in me that's turned into an inferno to make sure that people like Mike have a place to go year-round in Ocean County. And I will not stop this mission until my last breath. Commissioner Gary Quinn, Sheriff Mike Mastronardi, I have faith in your hearts. I know with people like Paul, Philly, Kim, Amanda, James, Just Believe, the Homeless Coalition, Pastor Sue, and all of our interfaith coalition, that we can get this done. To Matt, Josh, and Kevin, my challenge to all of you is to find your Mike. Find your passion on this council and work like hell to make our town a better place for everyone to live. There will always be distractions on this council. Don't fixate on them. Ignore them and accomplish the real work that can be and needs to be accomplished. Maria, Lori, and I are done on December 31st. I can promise everybody on January 6, 2022, on Friday, we'll be at food distribution at 7 a.m. Maria will be there at lunch. And that doesn't stop because this goes away. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Maruka.
I gotta follow Terrence. All righty. As I review the past 18 years, I'm proud to say there has been accomplishments over various aspects here in the township. Even though I represent Ward 1, these accomplishments came without boundaries. I think the mayor kind of touched on that with the bulkheads. And appropriately, I think he touched on that again when he gave Terrence that red carpet sign. That was a big purchase. Probably didn't affect any resident of Ward 1, except for the taxpayer dollars that went to, but we bonded for that. But you know what? It was the right thing to do, because it was going to make Toms River a better community. As a ward person, you fight for your ward, but you have to remember that you are representing all of Toms River. When you vote on a budget, when you vote on appointments, when you vote on the consent agenda and things like that, it just doesn't, you're just not voting on what's going to affect the residents you serve, but it's all residents of Toms River. And as 3 new ward people take a seat up here, I hope to God they remember that. Because when Mo and I first got on the council, and Toms River went to the ward system for the change of government in 2000, it was on the ballot in 2002, we ran in 2003. One of our biggest fears if we were going to pit ward against ward. But you know what? In the 18 years I have served up here, I have not seen that happen. Because we've continued to represent our ward, but also all the residents of Toms River. And that's the way it should be. One of the recreation projects we've done, which has, there's been so many, that's one of the proudest moments I've had, was recreation and open space. But some of the recreation projects included partnering with the Toms River schools for turf fields on their football fields. Because when the weather was bad, the guys weren't be able to play football, the cheerleaders didn't have a place to practice, so turf fields was an alternative, and this council, partnering with the school district, made that happen. The girls' softball complex, also known as Veterans Park, was another recreation facility. An indoor ice rink. Additional pickleball courts on the island. We've upgraded both Little League complexes with monies from the town, state grant monies, but it's been over the years. And I hope these council will still invest in our youth and their sports organization, because it's the best investment this town could make. Christmas Day, I was coming back from visiting relatives up in the Trenton area. I come down Bay Avenue, and I make a left onto North Bay to get home. There was kids, lots of kids, in our skateboard park on Christmas Day. That just warmed my heart, because you know what? They never had a place to go. They were always going out of town. We've also have a township-owned boat ramp. Mayor highlighted that, and also some kayak ramps. Additional capital improvement projects included our annual paving projects, refurbishing bulkheads, rebuild infrastructure on the barrier island after Superstorm Sandy. The barrier island, if you watch those DIY shows, you have to call it, we called it ground zero, but it was a total gut job. Everything had to go, from replacing gas mains from the gas company to the MUA coming in, replacing sewer lines. But a lot of that was accomplished and funded, accomplished by us, but funded by FEMA. We were able to get that 90-10 match, which helped that. But all the roads on the barrier island have been paved, especially in Ortley, and things are looking bright over there. Superstorm Sandy. It's presented this township with one of its biggest challenges in our history. $2 billion in ratables were lost. Countless lives were shattered. Homes were destroyed. The day or two after the storm, we met in this building with generators on, no power. The mayor had called the department heads together, and I was there with a couple other council people, and as we sat there, 3 of our department heads lost their homes, but they were here, serving the residents of Toms River. There was tears for themselves, but also for the residents as well. At times, we didn't know where to start after Sandy. We didn't know where to go first. But together with the first responders, our township employees, our residents, and elected officials, we never gave up, and you continue to fight. And you still have to continue to fight for the residents that have substantially damaged homes. That's a fight that we have to take to FEMA, and I hope this council continues that fight. I know Mayor Hill and I know council members will do that. Beach replenishment project. I got onto the council in 2004. I think the first meeting I went to was in 2006. It was hosted by Mayor Curtis. We were up in Bayhead. Freeholder Bartlett was there. And we talked. And it was on, it was off, it was Army Corps and everything, and it went on and on and on. And then Sandy hit. God knows what our town would look like if those dunes were there, and how many lives would not have been shattered and how many homes would have been protected. But persistence paid off, and that dune project and replenishment project came to fruition. We just have to keep up the fight with Army Corps and the DEP for the renourishment projects that need to take place, especially in Ortley Beach, and especially in sections of Normandy Beach. For the past 20 or 30 years, the candidates who run for elected office campaign on preserving open space. Have you ever heard of that? We're going to preserve open space. Well, I can proudly say, for me, that was a campaign promise I've achieved. We've preserved almost 400 acres of open space. The partnerships were many. They included Toms River Schools. They included Ocean County, the Trust for Public Lands, Natural Land Trust from the county, Green Acres, and Blue Acres. Some of the notable purchases were the Home Depot Jam property along the Fisher-Hooper corridor. The land for the girls' softball field, we purchased that. Camp Albacondo and the Boy Scout property. One property I want to highlight is the Surf Club property. This property has been on the drawing board to be purchased by the township, I want to say since 2006, when a realtor came in here and handed us a plan to put condos there. And it was like for $10 million. Well, we took that plan and kind of put it on the back burner because that was something we didn't feel was something that this town needed. With the state of New Jersey, we will shortly own, and the state of New Jersey will shortly own the Surf Club property, and the township will enter into a management agreement. This partnership consisted of Ocean County, Blue Acres, Green Acres, and the OBVTA. And I want to recall one OBVTA meeting, I want to say maybe about 3 years ago, where one of the board members, Tony Termazzo, when she made her comments, got up, and as I'm standing on the front, she hammered me on that Surf Club property, to the point where, when I left the meeting, and I would always go to the meeting with the police officer, and it was usually, it was Sergeant Pachonsky at the time, now it's Lieutenant Pachonsky. He texted me, wanted to know if I needed some ice for my black eye after that meeting. But Although the township was approached many times to purchase that property, we could never bring it to fruition. We've been negotiating on and off for years. But a couple of years ago, the OBBTA offered to hire a mediator to get both parties to come together and to come to a reasonable offer. And when the state of New Jersey got involved, and they did their appraisals, you're not going to argue with that. That was their reasonable offer. That was the easy part, because I still had to convince the remainder of the council that it would be a worthwhile and a benefit to all residents of Toms River, and we could make this the jewel of Ortley Beach. Because the township had to put in $685,000. The demo contracts just come in a little bit over $200,000. I mean, do the math, and plus we're going to have to connect the boardwalk and things of that. So the infrastructure is probably going to be about $2 million total on that. I'd like to thank council members Gagan, Litano, Kopp, Turnbach, and Hewitt for seeing the value in acquiring this property. Building condos was never the right fit for the property, and now it will be preserved for generations to come. Code Blue program. That was something that I have to say Terrence and Lori really enlightened me on that. There wasn't any persuasion, because you know what, it was the right thing to do. And they didn't approach it as a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. It was a human issue, and it still is. And we need to continue the fight. We need to continue to support Just Believe and all the work they do. And then when COVID first hit in March of 2020, about a month into it, when people were losing their jobs, everything was shut down, Terrence, the mayor, and I sat in our conference room, and we had a rep from Toms River Schools on the phone. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get food to our residents. We've got Kim Wadano on the phone. We're calling everybody that day. And that food distribution, we gave a little fancy name, Pop the Trunk, because there couldn't be any contact or anything. But that food distribution started on Good Friday of 2020, and is through the perseverance of Terrence, the mayor, Lori, and what we affectionately call our Friday family, that it continues. Some people thought when COVID was over, it was going to go away, but the need doesn't go away. And if there's a need, you need to fill that need. And I will see you this Thursday and next Friday, Terrence. You can guarantee that. Serving in public office is an honor and a privilege that I've had for the past 18 years. In some ways, time has flown by, and at some points, the days seemed endless, especially around Sandy. There was a lot of heartbreak, a lot of uncertainty, and there wasn't a rule book. They don't give you a rule book and say, okay, when you have a hurricane, you do this. They don't give it to OEM. They don't give it to PD. They definitely don't give it to elected officials. There's just nothing there. And you have to start from scratch, and you pull yourself up by the bootstraps every day and just do it. As I look back on the accomplishments as a member of this governing body, I recall many who I've served with over the years. There's been 3 mayors, Paul Brush, Tom Kelleher, and Mo Hill. I've had many council colleagues, and I thank them all. Because a lot of my council colleagues now, I call them family, and I will continue to call them family. They're dedicated and hardworking employees of our township, who many I call family. I've worked with the OBBTA, countless homeowners associations, and residents. A lot of them are too numerous to mention. I have always tried to work in a bipartisan fashion, and want to thank the mayors, my council colleagues, the residents, our employees, for making me a better councilwoman. I wish everybody a happy, healthy New Year, and God bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman Maruka. Councilwoman Hurek.
She was worried about following Terrence. Oh my gosh, I got to follow them both. I promise my comments won't be as long, but I enjoyed every minute of both of their comments and the mayor and Matt as well. First thing I want to say is thank you to the people of Ward 3 and Toms River for giving me the honor to serve on this council. And thank you to the other residents of Toms River, because as Councilwoman Maruka said, even though I was elected by a ward, I am here serving the entire town. So if people email or call or, have questions, I don't ask if they're from a particular ward. I do what I can to help them. That's what it's about. And to be honest, that was my one objective when I decided to run for office, was to prove that Democrats and Republicans can work together, that we can disagree on things, and that we can come to the table, discuss our differences, and come to a compromise. And that's what I've tried to do every single day that I've been up here. And I've said it over and over, we've done it at the local level. They can do it at the levels higher than this, county, state, federal, it can be done. So we're just people, we all want the same thing. We want the best for ourselves and our friends and our family. And so that's how you get it done. You have to work together. So listening to Terrence and Maria recount accomplishments, it's interesting. I've done a lot of smaller things maybe, but so starting with the Toms River Housing and Homeless Coalition, that formed after the meeting where they knocked down the red carpet in, and the people representing various homeless groups that serve the homeless in town that were all disjointed, asked to have a meeting. And so Terrence and I met with them. They actually approached Terrence first, and he invited me, and then I ended up keeping those meetings running monthly for several years, until COVID, and even with COVID, we met via Zoom. And that organization is still going strong, about to open a resource center out on 37 that will hopefully complement some of the services that Code Blue offers. So hoping to provide a place to sit during the day, to stay warm, and hopefully connect people with social services that might be open during the day. So, so that's coming soon. The reason that Code Blue ended up in Riverwood Park is because one of the things Matt said is, my husband just walked in, he knows this. He always says, what are you going to do about it, Laura, if you don't like the way something is? So I do things. So I was volunteering, waitressing at one of Paul's fundraisers for, at the time, Haven Beat the Street, and now Just Believe. And we were talking about, why doesn't Toms River give the Code Blue building Code Blue program a building to use? And I said, well, did you ever ask? Let's ask. So we got them into the building, and then of course Terrence just took that and ran with it and brought his kids. It's the tearjerker, of course, brings his kids on Christmas morning to Code Blue, and they were closed because it was 26 degrees and not snowing, and just took it over the top with the changing the law in Toms River and then at the state level. So some of the other things that I've worked with getting Toms River Pride going. That was an idea from Billy Cardone with Exit 82, and he was receiving a little resistance from the people he was proposing it to, and I said, well, let's legitimize this. Let's get a proclamation. So we did that, and then they had the celebration, and they had the flag raising. Now it's, the third year was attended by over 3,000 people on Washington Street. It's just amazing to see people come together and accept diversity and inclusion. And, the Silver Award recipients were here today. We had honored the Eagle Scouts all the time, and every meeting there were Eagle Scouts here, and I said, where's the girls? I was a Girl Scout leader for 16 years. They earned the Gold Award, and it just hadn't been really brought up. So the girls have a plaque downstairs the same as the boys now. And they are recognized at the meetings. And in Veterans Park, there's an adult exercise equipment that, it doesn't look like a jungle gym. It doesn't look intimidating. It's just equipment that can be used with an app. The police have used it. Every time I drive by, I see residents using it. And it's not in Ward 3. And I advocated for it to be in Veterans Park because I wanted it to be used. So it doesn't matter if it's in Ward 3. It needs to be used, and it is. There are a lot of sidewalks around town because I spent 2 years on the planning board. Much to some of the other members don't like sidewalks as much as I do. I love to walk, so I'm always advocating for that. We got the Goose Patrol going, still trying to promote that to get Huddy Park to be a little more, a little less full of goose poop and a little more friendly for activities. And that's where we had our TR United Festival. And the first year, it was really hard to get it all organized. It took months and months of planning. We met weekly at the end. And so this year, the police took it over completely and combined it with National Night Out, which it was just a phenomenal success for the second year. So can't wait to see that keep going. Some other smaller things, I testified before the State Senate Committee about the damage that was done by Sandy so that the state could take further action. And that's another example of, it doesn't matter what ward it's in. I was available. Someone had called to ask me to do a presentation and asked Maria. Maria wasn't available, so I said, absolutely. I got the financial information and the planning information and the engineering information and put together a presentation and went and did the job. So, and I absolutely hopped right on board with the surf club. When Maria spoke to me and asked me how I felt about it, absolutely, 100%. I think that every single person in Toms River will benefit from having a contiguous beach that is public property, and I'm so excited about that. So, some of the things that you might not know is because nothing happened. I wrote continuously to the DOT to try to get them to widen Route 9. That was, Mayor Hill actually spoke with Governor McGreevey about that, and that's how long we've been trying to get the state to widen Route 9. And, we just need fresh faces to keep coming along, and we'll keep asking, and I tried. They stopped calling me back. But, and I was on the CAP committee since it was formed. So that's the Community Arts Project. And so that's why I'm always promoting the arts, other than the fact that I love promoting the arts. And downtown businesses, which is where a lot of those arts happen. And then, of course, I ran the Cannabis Committee. In 2018, the township wanted to vote to ban cannabis in Toms River before it was even legal in the state. And so a lot of people tried to get me to, just go, don't rock the boat. And I said, no, I have to go with what I believe. And I did. And the rest of the council that night voted with me. And then several years later, it's now legal in the state. And instead of a flat out no, the council conceded and allowed me to host a committee that we talked about the pros and cons. It was evenly balanced, and we came up with a compromise, and it didn't work out this time, but hopefully in the future, it'll be reconsidered. But that was a challenging committee. So those are just the things I can remember, but off the top of my head. But there's just dozens and dozens of events that I've gone to, ribbons cuttings, fundraisers, annual award dinners, and that's actually, all this other stuff aside, the most important thing that I feel that I've learned is to be present. That is so important to the people of Toms River. They just want to know that you care, that you're, you know, I don't even have to do anything a lot of the time. I just, you know, go to the dinner and Mayor Hill is almost always wherever, any of the events I go to, he's almost always there, whether he was a councilman or mayor. He was, I actually started calling him my event buddy because we were always at all the events. Because I made every single event that I possibly could, because it's really, I didn't realize how important it was to people until someone approached me and asked me to come to their event, and just the look on her face, I was like, wow, she just wants me to be there, just be present. So that's the most important thing I did, every one of those smaller things. I wanted to thank Terrence for the first 2 years on the council. He was definitely my partner. We just relied on each other. We didn't know the rules. We didn't know how to make a motion, you know, and second and simple stuff. And then navigating, you know, we knew that the people that were on the council were kind of nervous about us, and we were both set to, you know, show them that we wanted to work hard and work together. And Maria really, as council president, took me under her wing and just kept me updated and informed and part of the team constantly. And the mentorship that she provided, you know, with 18 years of experience, there's not a question you could ask that she doesn't have the answer. And amazing that every time we go anywhere, any of the events, any people come in, she just knows everybody. It's fantastic. And I thank both of them for their service. Terrence for 4 years, but I'm sure it'll be many more, even if not sitting on the dais. And Maria for 18 years. That just like blows me away, because I know how busy the council can keep you, and she was that busy for 18 years, just amazing. And I'm sure she's not going to stop. So thank you both. And Mayor, thank you for your support and your guidance and mentorship as well. It's really, really been amazing, and I appreciate you very much. And Matt, Kevin, and Josh, I just want to say good luck to you guys. It's been great. I was so happy to work with you over the last 2 years. And actually, I really enjoyed working with our previous council members as well. And so I want to thank you guys who are here, and good luck. And that's it.
Sure, go ahead, Councilwoman.
I just asked Council
Ruka.
President before he goes
Next
to
meeting, absolutely.
Councilman Kopp. I think this council is going to miss a female perspective on it. That's all I have to say, because you know what? It's just I think you bring a different perspective to the table. I can't say what's good and different or not, but just that perspective. And I wish there was going to be a female up here. That's all I have to say.
Who am I going to ask if my tie matches my shirt? No. Anyways, Councilman Kopp.
Thank you, Council President. So I want to start off and say it's been an honor and a privilege working with Councilwoman Maria Maruca, Councilwoman Lori Hurick, and Councilman Terrence Turnback. They welcomed me onto this council 2 years ago, and I can say I've learned something from each one of them. My main takeaway, as there's too many to list, is Maria, you have taught me about being persistent. Lori, you have taught me about being passionate, and Terrence, you have taught me about commitment. And I think you've heard it here tonight in all of their closing comments. You all took on this role with pride and really worked for the residents of Toms River. Tonight, we talked about your hard work, your accomplishments, and you can see that these have not gone unnoticed. I know your efforts for the residents of Toms River will not end here, and there's a bright future for Toms River knowing that you are still around. Terrence, Maria, and Lori, you will be greatly missed in this council. You have all become lifelong friends, and I'm proud of what you did. I'm sure they're not going anywhere far, and like I said, Toms River has a bright future knowing that these few individuals are still around. Other than that, I want to wish you all the best, and I want to wish the residents of Toms River a happy and healthy new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, after an hour, what is there left to say for me without recapping everything? Certainly these three realize that there's more to being involved in the council than showing up a few minutes before the meeting begins, voting yes or no on issues. We don't always agree on everything, and we shouldn't. But where we have these discussions, and sometimes they're passionate, is behind the scenes at the subcommittee meetings and whatnot. So when we come out here, we vote our heart, what was decided, and that's where it is. We treat each other with respect as the public expects from your elected officials. The three of you have served with beyond honor, dignity, and class that you brought to this council. I wish you all well, and we're going to miss you. I want to wish everybody a happy and safe New Year. That's all I have. Okay. And now I'd like to open the floor to public comment. Okay. Yes, sir. That's fine.
Hi, I'm Anthony Colucci. I'm the president of the Ortley Beach Voters and Taxpayers Association. Maria Maruca has been a loyal supporter for us. She shows up at every meeting. She listens to our comments. We appreciate her so much. It's very difficult for Ward 1 is a little different than the rest of this town, as you guys know. And we have problems that you guys, the rest of the council, don't know. And Maria has to interpret our complaints to you guys so you understand it, and then work to make a resolution so it makes us happy. And the town benefits from it because Ward 1, especially the Barrier Island, is so unique to New Jersey and to the residents of this town. And Maria really works hard to make sure this happens for us and for everybody. And we really appreciate that, and we're going to miss you. And I know you've heard so many wonderful things from the mayor and all the councilmen about what you've done, but you've done a great service to Ortley Beach and the Barrier Island, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, sir.
Paul Jeffrey, 1661 Bay Boulevard, Vice President of Ortley Beach Voters and Taxpayers Association, which is why I came up with Anthony. I want to thank all three of you that are leaving. You have left a remarkable changes on this township that I think will be noticed forever. All three of you. It's just amazing. But I am going to be selfish, Maria, because you're in my ward. And our ward, I think we started working together after Superstorm Sandy and with now Mayor Hill as well. And you guys put in just incredible time and effort to help the community come back. I think that the Ortley Beach and the waterfront areas of all of Toms River are likely to become #1 destination. I don't know whether you've seen the fact that Toms River and Ortley Beach and the Barrier community is the #1 destination for people leaving New York. I don't know whether people have seen that data. It is shocking, the number of people that are coming. You can look at the real estate prices, and that tells you as well. It's just skyrocketing. But Maria, we've worked together, I think, 8 years now. It's been wonderful. You have fought for us and fought for us. You have come to every single meeting. And any meeting you couldn't make it, you're texting me and calling me. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it. I don't know if I can get there. I mean, that's the kind of dedication that is wonderful from any one of you sitting up there. And I just want to thank you. And I can't wait for Thursday to have what I think is the largest
parcel of oceanfront property going to public use, I think, in the whole coast of New Jersey for a long, long time. Someone may be able to correct if that's right or wrong. But it's been a tremendous accomplishment. And I just want to thank you so much for everything you've done. Justin's got no idea what's coming. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Tormolen in the back. She had her hand up first, sorry.
Hi, everybody. Dana Tormolen, 105 Messenger Street. So pretty much I think some of you were in my head today when I was writing down what I wanted to say, so bear with me as I repeat a lot of it. Tonight is bittersweet. 3 members of this council that I've known for a short time, 3 people who I've learned so much from, and 3 people who I now consider friends will be leaving this council tonight for the last time. In the past 18 months, I have had the pleasure of being in their company both here and outside of this room. They serve this town as Democrats and Republicans, but more importantly as true leaders working together to do right by all the residents of Toms River. Councilwoman Urick, working to keep our community united while others tried to tear it apart, from protecting the environment to protecting the openness of discussions when it comes to the rights of the residents. Your efforts to promote awareness from healthcare to homelessness, to forming a committee to research the popular yet controversial topic of marijuana sales in Toms River, and for those who were for and against it so their concerns could be heard, will be appreciated as this conversation continues. I wish you and your family much happiness and good health as you move on to your future. Councilwoman Maruka, you have been a force for our town, especially the residents of the Barrier Island, for as long as I can remember. I remember vividly reading your name regularly after Sandy devastated so many lives. You had your sleeves rolled up, and you were ready to get to work in every aspect when your residents needed you most. You have worked to provide parks and recreation areas for our residents that have proven to be extremely beneficial to our community. Skate park especially for my children. The time and effort most recently regarding the surf club and pursuing the open space is such a huge thing, not only for the residents of Orly, but our entire shore community. We will forever be and they will forever be a part of your legacy. In your tenure as council member, you have seen so many changes, and your knowledge of Toms River is something I hope to continue learning from. I look forward to seeing you every week, not only for your delicious treats, and I appreciate you. Thank you for everything you've taught me. And Terrence, from our first interaction regarding a neighborhood issue in your ward, in our ward, to breaking bread with you and your beautiful family, it's like we've known each other for forever. It's only been a little over a year, and you have opened not only my eyes, but so many others to what it feels like to get involved and to do good things for the right reasons. Your heart is bigger than anything I ever imagined one could be. Your selfless efforts to help everyone always is contagious. Your accolades over your 4 years on this council is beyond what most people could achieve in their lifetime. From being an amazing husband and father to your family, to fighting for our schools and our veterans, homeless, as well as being everywhere for everyone at any time, it doesn't go unnoticed. You're a true gentleman, a natural-born leader, and an incredible friend, which this day and age seems to be a challenge for so many. I want to say thank you to you for being the epitome of what we need representing this town. It truly is our loss as a community that you will no longer be sitting in that seat. But as I've stated on numerous occasions, I truly believe this is just the beginning of your story, and I can't wait to see what's next, and I look forward to being there to see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, you in the front row, you had your hand up.
Lorraine Harwellick, 605 Vision Avenue. I just want to say very briefly, thank you for the people who have served. Public services, it's a little bit of fame, but I think it's probably more headaches, and hard work. So thank you very much. Now, I got this little green thing in the mail as I was walking out my door to come to the meeting, saying that I owe taxes and I'm always way ahead of paying my taxes. So it's a small amount, like $80 or something, and it's backdated. So I checked the website, and there it was. It was no longer November of 2021 as paid. It was open. And there was some sort of surcharge or addition. Now, I have no problem paying this if this is what the taxes are. But how am I supposed to know that there's this addition without the tax people letting me know? And then now I've got this plus interest. I mean, what is this all about? Does anybody know?
Council President, what I'd recommend is tomorrow, give the tax collector's office a call. You have payment that you made for your November quarterly payment. You have proof that you did that. Make sure the dates match up, and they'll be able to walk you through it. Because without seeing whatever in the system right now, we can't comment on it, but they'll say when your payment was credited. I don't know if you've done it over, if you paid it by online, if you pay it by credit card, if you have it taken out of...
Well, they got the bulk of it.
If you've had it taken out of your mortgage, I'm not sure of that, but I would say the best one you can talk to would be the tax collector's office, and that would be tomorrow morning.
Well, I assume that, but I do want to bring up a point. My taxes I pay months ahead of time, okay? And I just paid, I was late. I paid February for 2022 just yesterday. But my point I'm making is, if there's an additional amount after the fact, I should receive a bill, not a notice with interest. So, any taxpayer association, what are you saying to this?
Again, if you
Yeah, the tax
notify the
collector is
tax
the only
collector,
one that can answer
they'd
that.
be able to say if a notice went out, didn't go out. Unfortunately, I just don't have that answer for you.
Okay, but I'm just curious, so has anybody ever experienced where there was an additional amount after the fact, and then you got notification so that you could pay it?
Sometimes the last quarter or two is estimated, and it's not finalized till the end of the year. So that's the only thing I could think is maybe it adjusted. Because you paid it so early, perhaps it was only estimated and it wasn't set in stone. But the tax assessor will be able to tell you.
Okay, well, I'll find out what the story is, but I shouldn't be just hit with this, you know. We should know ahead of time. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other member of the public wish to be heard? Yes, sir. And
Michael Valdeterre, 35.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Michael Valdeterre, 35, West Rutherford Lane, Lavalette.
you can tilt that mic up so you don't have to bend over or take it out, whichever's easier.
Yeah, I know it's like the holidays and everything, so I was just wondering if there was any update on the substantial damage based on the last letter Mayor Hale sent over to FEMA and the state.
Bob, do you want to?
I apologize. I'm actually off this week, but to my knowledge, we haven't seen a response that the mayor's letter to DCA or the NFIP coordinator's office. But as soon as we get something, we'll put it up on the website, and hopefully we'll have good news. But we're kind of in a wait-and-see mode right now.
Very good. So that's unfortunately the answer. There is no answer. Movement. Again, it's government. Alrighty. Sir, over here, you had your hand up to speak.
Thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak.
Just state your name.
My name
and
is
address.
Philip Stanicki, known as Cousin Philly in the cold blue style of living, which is not too good. I live at 8 Sky Harbor Court, Toms River. I want everybody to be aware, beside thanking you three, nobody can fill your shoes. But all you council people that are going to remain here, and for the new ones coming in, do you realize there's over 300 people right around here in the woods living? There's over, I would say, I hit 15 to 20 hotels every other night and day from Toms River Route 37 down into Seaside with starving people with nowhere to go. They get put up for 3 days, then they go to the woods. We need a transitional housing building. This town needs it. If I could do what I do, you guys could talk amongst each other and sign some papers and, you know, pass a bill to have something built. And I'd appreciate it. It could be your daughter, it could be your brother, it could be your parents. I've seen people with businesses. I've seen lawyers that are still out there in the woods. Veterans, 18 years, we just got housed. There's no reason for this. We're all human beings. You know, I go into the woods. Terrence comes with me. You know, I'm not afraid to die. One of them psycho people go crazy on me. They're all God's children. We all got to love each other. We all got to support each other. So I hope January 1st, you guys that are going to remain and the new incumbents, or whatever you want to call them, have the same heart as these three. Lori, love you, thank you. Maria, love you, thank you. Terrence, I wish someday I could fill your shoes. Thank you. And thank you, council members, and Mo Hill, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Walked up here with a lot of emotion.
Just name and address for the record.
Paul Hulse, CEO and president of Just Believe. You spoke. It took a minute for you to get it going. Takes me a minute too. You know. Tonight I heard you guys speak about Code Blue. You know, you three, Mayor Mo Hill. Thank you for letting me be your champion. Thank you for letting me take care of our homeless in our community. Thank you for letting me be a spark. Now others are following, being a trailblazer, as I say. It's been amazing. We have a thrift store, you know. We also acquired land. We will be building a transitional home in Ocean County, not Toms River though. We have a lot of good things happening, and it's just because of you guys. You guys, you know, said yes. You know, this whole council, you guys voted for the 35 degrees. You all said yes. You know, that we're here except for you guys, sorry. That was amazing. I got a proclamation from this council for helping homeless people. It's unheard of. I mean, it's such an honor to stand here and be able to do the work that we do. So, thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Paul DiGregorio, Goose Creek Road. I just wanted to hop on the bandwagon here and thank Councilwoman Maruka, Councilwoman Hurick, and Councilman Turnbach for your service to our community. It's often said that the goal is always to leave the town better off than it was when you came here, and definitely all three of you accomplished that goal, and it became evident through your colleagues' comments and the comments of the residents. The most important thing I think I could take away is you guys have your heart and soul in this, and every decision you make and the reason you decided to go into public service is because you love Toms River, and you always want to make the best decision for Toms River, and definitely have some big shoes to fill, and once again, thank you.
Thank you. Does any other member of the public wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am. Sal. Good evening.
Jennifer Howe, 22 Admiral Avenue. I just want to say, Lori, Maria, and Terrence, COVID was horrible for so many people. It was awful for everybody. It still is going on, but 2020, I met all three of you, so I can say that something good came out of it. I first went to a food distribution. It was April 17th, and I remember because it was like right after Easter, and it was a Friday, and I was like stuck in the house with the kids again, and I reached out to Maria. I saw pictures on Facebook, and I said, can I come volunteer? She said, sure, you know, go to Walnut Street Elementary School, get there, and I said to the kids, I'm like, I'm leaving for a little bit. I have to get out of here. My husband was home. I was like, I'm just going to go for a little bit and just see what's going on. You know, I was on the school board, and we were trying to figure out the food for the kids who, you know, were not getting their food in school anymore, and it was making us nervous that we had parents reaching out saying that we don't have enough food for our kids. I went to Eastover first, and I got out of the car, and Maria had it all organized, and I got out of my car, and Maria goes, what are you doing here? And I was like, what? You're like, you're supposed to be at Walnut Street. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So,
They were lined up around
Yeah.
the block.
she's like, you got to get to Walnut Street. I was like, okay, I'll get to
Parents
Walnut
needed
Street.
reinforcements, Jen. I said.
So I got in the car and I went over there and I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I got there and I was amazed. There's boxes of food and I got out of the car and I walked over to Terrence. I had never met you really, I mean, maybe a wave here and there. And he said, they're going to pull up. Don't say anything. Ask them how many people are in their family. There was a bunch of people there. Chuck was there, and that was it. And that's how it started. It was so well organized. And I remember looking in the boxes. I remember the first day talking to a mom. She was hysterical, crying. Her and her husband owned a business. Nobody was going. She was in this beautiful SUV, and she was crying and saying, "I'm so embarrassed that I'm pulling up in this car with this car payment, and I don't have enough food for my kids because my husband and I own a business. We have all these bills, and we have to wait and find out, like, how are we going to get money?" You know, it was awful. I felt so horrible for her, and I have 6 kids, and she had 4 kids, and I just remember thinking, like, my God, like, I'm lucky my husband does what he does, and I remember just thinking, like, this is going to be bad for a while, and, you know, we're on week 92, and now you hear, because of COVID's not going anywhere, and now you talk to the elderly people that are on fixed incomes and gas is so high and they just need some pasta and they share it with their neighbors, and the stories that have come out of Pop the Trunk and the friendships and the family, and it's amazing. And all 3 of you are so key in that, and to see you every week is you're such a inspiration to everyone in the community. You really are. Lori and Maria as women, and I agree with you, not having a woman on the council I think it is a big deal. I think it matters that there's men and women in everything, and I agree with you, and I hope next time around we have a female sitting up there. But thank you for being, you know, leaders for women. It's nice to see. Marie, the first time I ever met you, it was when I decided to run for the school board, and you said, don't let anyone get to you. You stand up for what you believe in, and I take that with me, and I appreciate that from you. And Lori, you, with what you do with the town and being inclusive of everyone, people are so small-minded, and when you're not in a big city or near a big city and you're in a town where it's kind of the same turnover of families year after year, and which is wonderful, but nobody wants to see anything different, and you're so good at doing it in a way with such kindness and compassion, and you bag vegetables so quickly. It's so nice on Fridays. For that short amount of time you come before work with Keith, and it's just so great. You know, Maria, you come on your lunch break. So many people would never leave work and come down. You bring us pastries. And I just want you to know, on Christmas Eve, I had Maruka's pizza coupons, and I was walking around ShopRite, and everyone was in a bad mood. And I just started handing them out, and I said, this is from Councilwoman Maria. She wants you to go to have
My brother's going to love
Yeah,
that.
so I tell them I'm sorry. But it's something that you do, and it means a lot. It does. It means a lot when people are just giving of themselves all the time. And I love that. And you've just been an inspiration. Terrence, on behalf of the Board of Education and a parent in Thames River, we would be lost next year without the stabilization aid you acquired for us, the $7.6 million. When you sit in a meeting now, we don't have to talk about how many teachers are we cutting, how many positions are we cutting, how many activities do we have to cut, how much more money are these kids going to have to raise for their sports teams. And Mayor Hill, I'm going to correct you, Mr. Turnbach is the one that started the Education Foundation. It was his idea. And, you know, having a kid come up and show you their new uniform and the art department fixing kilns, you took it upon yourself to start that. And, you know, people think of how can I help, and you're just a doer. You like find the problem. I see people pull up every Friday at food distribution. Is Mr. Turnbach here? And I see you work with them, you show them the right direction to go in, and it changes people's lives. I'm so happy that our families have become such good friends, and our kids, I love that we have all the kids there. Councilman Latano, your kids have been there. It's so nice to see kids putting boxes of food in people's cars and knowing that they're going to eat, and, you know, showing the kids, like, this is what these kids are going to get, you know, and it's because of you guys, you're helping, and it just means so much. I'm going to miss seeing you up here. I know that none of you are done serving your community. I know you're not. And as a Ward 4 council person, I say this when everyone's like, how did Mr. Turnbach lose? I said, because everyone that voted for Mr. Turnbach paid attention. and everyone else was a Republican. And that's the reason you lost. And I know that's true. Everyone that pays attention to what's going on and doesn't just check boxes, they know your heart and soul and what you've done for our ward, and I appreciate that. And what you've done for Ortley, Maria, and what you've done for your ward and just the town. But people don't pay attention, and I hope people start paying better attention to what's going on. And I just want to wish all of you Happy New Year. And for the three of you, good luck with everything you do. I can't wait to see what it is, and I hope you don't forget to include me in it, because I've learned so much from you, and I can't wait to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does any other member of the public wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Todd Garris, 1932 Pinta Court, Toms River. Good evening, folks. I want to, on behalf of the community, thank you for the support of Paul and his team. They do such an unbelievable job over there with the homeless. Terrence, man, one of the this is very inspiring for me tonight, because one of the council people mentioned, I think it was Terrence, that you take to an idea and you run with it. And I think we all in this world want to make this place a better place. So find whatever passion you have, run with it. If it's the right thing, of course, we will support you. The only other thing I want to make comment of is that this is all a big thing about what great things you have done, especially the three that are leaving. But, I want to give a little bit of credit to the families. I don't know who they are here, so I clap for the families. Man, we understand what you guys do, take you away from dinners, weekends, family parties, and thank you for doing what you do, and please thank your families on behalf of the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Does any other member of the public wish to be heard? Okay. Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close public comment. Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, we got a
And then Jenna. Okay.
Noah Hilsdorf, 65 Violet Court. I would like to start by thanking all three of you for what you've done over your tenure. There's going to be a void on the dais once you guys are gone. 18 years and 4 years. I think you three are the most accomplished in terms of your tenure, the things you've done for Toms River. It's the little things that mean a lot and the big things that you guys have done. Working with you, Councilman Turnback, this fall meant a lot. And on behalf of Anthony, Abby, Mia, and I have a newcomer for you, Maddie, we thank you for letting us be a part of Team Turnback. We enjoyed running around, spreading the word in Ward 4 for you. Personally, Councilman Turnback, it meant a lot. The little things you did when we were working in the fall, you held the door for everybody. You stood there. It was kind of weird. We thought maybe the councilman should go first, but you were holding the door for the high school kids. We would sit down and you would ask if we wanted coffee. And I mean, I'm not a coffee guy, but I said no thanks. Everybody else was like, oh yeah, I'll have some coffee. I appreciated every time I was texting you, you would ask how I was doing. First, you didn't demand, do this, I need you this day and all that. You asked how I was doing first. I'd like to thank you for two big issues you took on that affected me, the stabilization aid. Going to school every day since the budget cuts began a number of years ago, and seeing the classes get bigger and supplies shortened for certain classes. People who were fired and laid off. My mother was fired twice, hired twice during this whole fiasco, and it really affected our family. And it brought a smile to her face and to my face when the $7 million was pulled through by you. Also, with the red carpet in, I think it's very fitting that you got a sign to display somewhere in your house or in your law office. My grandparents have lived in downtown for 40 years. Grandfather's lived here for 60 years. He's seen the changes in downtown and the kind of denigration from the heydays to now. And we were very hopeful when certain changes like the knocking down the red carpet didn't happen. So it meant a lot to them, definitely. And it meant a lot to me because that's one of the things I care about is downtown. So I'd just like to thank you for that.
You keep being you, and your name will be up here when they know it.
Thank you.
For sure.
So I'm kind of short at that. Thank you guys, and I hope everyone has a happy new year.
Thank you very much. And come on up, Jen.
My name is Jeanette Schlaffer. I live at 612 Hardenberg Avenue in Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant, what am I doing here? I have been the happiest person ever because I've got to meet all of you. Well, some of you I already knew.
Long time ago.
But anyway, everybody's been talking about the Fridays. I just wanted to share with everybody else. Fridays is more than just putting the food in the trunk. I live in Point Pleasant. I drive from Point Pleasant down every week, but I feed people coming back up. People call up now, and people feel comfortable. Like, we've all become the face of hope and help, and because of you guys, and because you let everybody do it. And even like the Friday people, it's such a crazy mix of people that would have never been together. Like, you would have, like, some people you would have, like, walked across the road. Now we're like, come here, help me. And when people bring their kids, we're like, we're going to teach your kids all the things you've told them to never do. Walk up to strangers and put things in their cars. And the kids look forward to it, and the people look forward to it. And we've had people come, and they've graduate. People like tears, and I'm not going to be here anymore. I got a job. We're like, how great is that? There's one little lady that comes in a Honda every week. She brings us cookies. We race to her car. There's sisters that come. How old are they, Terrence? Like 80? And they pull up and they get food for all these other families, but they sing a cappella to us every week, the sisters. It's just craziness. So while you guys have all done great, I think we've all grown and we've all become better people. The people that know us have become better people, and it's just such a wonderful experience. So I know sometimes we knock heads, but thank you very much. And no, I'm not going to dance. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. And even though I live in Point Pleasant, I feel the tons of love.
You're
so
here.
Thank you.
Love thank you very much. Okay. So I don't miss. Does any other member of the public wish to be heard? Okay, I'll just take a motion to close public comment first.
Motion to close?
Second.
Public comment?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, there is no need for executive session. However, before I take a motion to end the meeting, I would just like to ask my fellow colleagues, as well as the public, one last ovation. Standing ovation for our outgoing council people. Thank you. On that note,
I think Terrence and Laura should make the motion.
You want to make a motion, too?
Feel free.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.